Shorter video today. Really, the main reason I wanted to create a video was to show off this awesomeness. This is Hulk Hogan versus Ultimate Warrior. I think this was WrestleMania 6. I actually wore this to WrestleMania last year, and it was fantastic. I might start wearing all the wrestling ones just because, they make me happy. This particular pattern makes me feel powerful. It's like some type of energy totem that brings me to life. Anyway, so what I'm going to ask you to do today, and this is going to be a little bit annoying, but I want you guys to practice something for me. I actually took out one of the assignments for this class because I wanted to do something that would be more akin to a formal draft for the community research paper. So what we're going to do, and this will be graded very, very lightly. It's not the full research paper, obviously. Here's what I want you to do. We're going to write a proposal. Now, this is something that has a tendency to kind of set students' brains on fire because this is something that's going to be kind of unusual. I find it to be a very good activity. One of the things that I try to model for my students, and this is something that's really hard to do in the online environment, is to show kind of the planning that should go into the writing process. Because again, the way that most students approach a project in writing is they sit down a day or so before it's due, they hammer the whole thing out, right? You assemble the whole thing in one go. And I'm sure you guys have heard me say this before, but that's not really how we get good writing. That's something that's always going to kind of sort of suffer. So what we're going to do instead is you guys are going to write a kind of pre-draft, but the purpose and the overall direction of this draft is going to be a kind of outline of what the paper will actually do. Now, I'm going to basically spell this out for you, okay? I'm going to give you very specific directions on what I want from this. First and foremost, I want you guys to practice the formal business letter. I'll post a template of that. It'll actually show you how to format a business letter because, believe it or not, template writing is extremely important in the modern day kind of writing world, because pretty much everything you do in a professional context is probably going to be reliant on some type of template. When you write things like memos or resumes or all types of, formal writing, you really don't create the template, right? You typically adopt a template from somewhere else. There's a lot of different examples of this. You can find them on Microsoft Word. You could purchase them. I'll find a nice free one that you guys can adopt. But I want a nice looking business letter. And you can use the address of the college, which is kind of an interesting exercise as well. Find the address of the college and, put the address in the appropriate place in the template. Address me as Dear Mr. Bailey. I'm not Dr. Bailey yet. I don't know if that's ever going to happen. I am not the student I used to be. One day I hope to be Dr. Bailey, but for right now, when you guys accidentally call me Dr. Bailey, it makes me happy, but technically you don't have to do that. So, Dear Mr. Bailey, right? You're going to write 3 paragraphs. And since this is a business letter, you can actually get away with fewer sentences in these paragraphs. So we can shoot for 5 to 7, right? The first paragraph is going to introduce to me the overall community you have selected. Tell me a little bit about it, where it is if it has a physical location, who are the members of that community, all that kind of information, right? The second paragraph will be the issues this community faces and some of the strengths that it offers to its members or to the outside world, right? First paragraph, the community itself, description. 2, the issues that it faces or the strengths, the good things that it offers. And then the final paragraph is going to suggest 2 sources of information that you will use to write this paper. It can be a Galileo source. In fact, I almost want to require a Galileo source, but I don't want to be that much of a monster. And it can be a media source or something outside of that scholarly kind of identity. Now, this is going to sound really redundant, but in my opinion, because I think I've already had you guys write kind of like a quick sort of free write type thing about your community, but you're going to do it again. I've recently tried to start journaling again to try to start getting into some writing projects because it's been a while since I really wrote. I had like a nervous breakdown like a year ago, and I've never really been able. I've just been completely writer's block the whole time. And so I've started doing the journaling stuff and writing every day. And it just kind of, I really have been reminded of how much work you actually have to put into a project that's extemporaneous. You've got to write multiple versions of the thing before you even get an idea of what it is you want to execute, right? I completely forgot all that. So if you're like, Mr. Bailey, you already had us do stuff like that. Well, yeah, that's kind of how this works. You don't just write it one time. You write it multiple times. You write it in multiple contexts, and you try to treat the same subject over and over and over again so that when you actually sit down to write the damn thing, you know a lot about the approach that you're going to take. Now, and again, I'm going to go ahead and get in front of this. This sucks. Probably the suckiest part of the writing process is the work that you have to put into it in the very beginning. So if it feels repetitive at this point, that's exactly what I'm doing. And we've already kind of put some of these ideas out there. I've got some really specific directions on how I want this proposal to look and what it's supposed to say. So theoretically, this should be an easy A, right? This should not be something that's going to really go hard in the you're not writing long paragraphs. You're not trying to offer up solutions. You're not trying to impress me with this. You're giving me information about the subject before you even begin to treat the subject. Now, again, this is going to be easy because this is part of those pre-steps. Also, like I said, it's kind of interesting. I think it's a worthy exercise to see how you guys adopt a template. So I'll attach the template to this video. Write that one-page business letter. I might type up a little guide on that too, because believe it or not, this is the one time that you're not supposed to double space. And that should be evident when I show you the template. It's like every time I've ever assigned an assignment, I'm like, good God, double space it, right? Do yourself a favor, do me a favor. But this is like the one exception. Business letters are not double spaced. So that's something I'm actually going to kind of look for. I'll be sure to have something like that in the instructions. But again, if you submit it and there's something wrong with it, I've already gone back and graded a few resubmissions. I know I can be very behind on these things, but I'll let you go back and resubmit this. So if you screw this up, it should be pretty easy to fix. This is really going to be more like a formatting issue type thing. Okay. So in any case, that'll be kind of a participation thing. If you want a little bit of extra participation, we are going to have the live session today. You can always go into the discussion forum and talk about how awesome my shirt is. Free participation points. Go for it. Sounds awesome. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Start working on, as far as a due date goes, we're far enough in the semester that I'm just going to kind of say, turn it in when you can. Like, it'd be really nice if I could get it, sometime next week before oh my God, we have all next week off. I'm going to be in Chattanooga. I'm probably not even going to check I'm probably not even going to check Blackboard next week. So you have all next week to do this anyway. So yeah, take next week to do this. And I'm not putting a formal due date on it, but doing this now will help you with the formal draft when that comes later. All right. And it should also, give you an idea of like what you'll do with your sources, make you select 2 sources, yada, yada, yada. So it's repetitive. Yes. It's lame. Yes. But you have to do it because I'm the teacher and I'm wearing a really cool shirt, right? And I have the authority. I think that's all for today. I made myself a toasted peanut butter and jelly sandwich yesterday, and that thing was good. And I'm like, I think I want another one. I think I'm going to do it. Toasted peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I think I'm 12. The shirt doesn't really help me against that either. You guys have a great day. Hope you have a good holiday. I'll see you after next week.